What's up, y'all? This your boy Gerald. It is the 21st of November, 2015. How is each and every one of you doing? You are now in the midst of your weekend. So how was your week? Did you navigate through it? Sidestep the negativity by keeping yourself grounded, speaking your truth, and always placing God first in everything you do. So, how you been? Doing all right? Shout out to those who reached out, as well as those who've taken the time to actually hear what I am trying to convey, which all comes by way of the Holy Spirit. So, you're starting your weekend, excuse me, and you should be in a place of reflection. Some of y'all are just waking up because you just actually brought it to a close, and now you're in a place of assessing where you've been, where you are, and projecting where you wish to be. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing because you only have one life, y'all, and it's priceless. But you know, I woke up this morning with, I gotta tell you, the boob tube is on. You already know what's going on in the world in regards to the tragedies that took place in Africa, took place in Paris, took place in the States as well. You know, one life lost is one life too many. That is why it's very important, y'all, that you must take accountability for not only what you stand for, but what you aspire to possess. So, in other words, if God's not in it, it's not going to come to pass. That's just how it works. But I know that my subscribers, if anything, you love yourself. If anything, you finally made a dedication to love you more, and you are committed to do the work. We all know what does not work in our lives individually. So now is the time that we roll up our sleeves and we dive in to what will be known as your purpose. See, no one can do your work, y'all, no matter how you try to shift it, move it, flip it, rearrange it. Your work is your work. I'll do one better. It's like looking at a problem. No matter how hard you try to put a distraction in its place, no matter what the means is, the problem will persist until you decide to identify it. To identify, you must acknowledge that it exists. So therefore, you've got to look at what that obstacle may be, what that challenge may be, or that delay. Because nothing happens by chance, y'all. I think a lot of y'all are starting to understand that no, nothing happens by chance. See, what a lot of people don't realize is the things that are being revealed to you now are from actions in the past. May have been things that have been overlooked or not addressed, We may know it as that proverbial pink elephant in the room, and it has had growth inside you. You know, it's kind of like having a 500-pound shackle, you know, and you want to progress, but you can't because you're stuck there. You're stuck there because the fact that 9 times out of 10, it's fear-based. There's something there that has a hold on your emotional state, your spiritual state, and maybe possibly your physical state too, depending on where you are in that parameter. But the reason why I'm coming out with this morning is because I know that some of you are being faced with not only reaffirming your boundaries, but you're really starting to assess your associations, your friendships. You're starting to do that social pruning, or you're sifting on what matters most to your life, you know. And I know that some of you may be doing it because of a reactionary position, and I think that some of you are actually being methodical about it, and you're at a place that where you say, well, you know what? I know this is going to be disappointing, but I need more. I know I'm talking to somebody. You're feeling that desire that just kind of taps on the pulse of your well-being, and you're like, you know what? I've gotta deal with this. I've got to address it because the longer that I ignore it, the more it becomes a disappointment. And fear comes into play on that. That's normal. That's normal. But what is really at stake is the choices that you make right now. See, you can't get back yesterday. Let's make that clear. Your yesterday is really your insight in the makeup of your wisdom. That's why things have a means of coming full circle. We all have heard that. What goes around comes around. So if it comes around again, shouldn't it best suit you? Hmm? Don't you think it's worth it? So if you agree with me, now's the time that you lay out everything that matters to you and do a once over once more time. One more time. Because what you may have overlooked out of convenience may be the one thing that has been holding you back all along. But see, I understand that, not my subscribers, because you've all gone through something. Some of you are maybe in your spiritual storm right now, and you feel that your emotions are on the surface. You can actually go from emotionally 1 to 10 within a blink of an eye, depending on the environment, because you're tired of being tired. Because you also know this, what's going to happen if you do not is it's going to usher in your breakdown. Now let me throw this in there. See, you cannot, and I say this with love, you cannot alter what is destined. So sooner or later, you're going to go through whatever growing pains, if you like to call it as such, or spiritual awareness that is required. Because see, what is at stake is your life. Your life, y'all, you only have one. But if you listen to what is being portrayed outside your door from a social stance, my queens, I know some of y'all thought I was just hating. Why'd you always talk about us like that? Because Gerald love each and every one of you, and Gerald don't like seeing you take L's. So, at a minimum, you'll have a man that doesn't have an agenda, that's going to tell you what you need, not what you want to hear. But it doesn't surprise you every time that you turn around. In droves, more and more women are starting to take on the mystique of the prostitute, the Jezebel, the lady of the night. Does it surprise you that everywhere you turn around, the more and more a woman's worth is thrown out the window? For what? For social acceptance? For economic stability? Or worse, for emotional validation of what is lacking from inside you? So you got to understand something now. I understand that some of you have been carrying a wound that has been so deep that you have used your distractions as a means to fill a void that can never be filled. Why you think you go through so many partners that you do? That's why you get offended when someone asks you, well, how many sexual partners have you had? And you get offended. You don't get offended because he asks. You get offended because you don't like to admit it to yourself, that you've allowed yourself to be given cavalierly. But that does not make it the end all be all. Because I believe each and every one of you deserve to be honored, to be treasured, to be respected. But you know what's so beautiful about that? You don't realize is one day you're going to be somebody's mother, somebody's auntie, somebody's grandmother, or someone's matriarch. And your experiences is going to teach the young that will come under your supervision, directly or indirectly. So it behooves you that you make sure that you are on point. That's why I always convey that to you, because God gave you the greatest gift ever as a human being, and that's the gift of nurturement. That's why you are given the right to be called mother, because you are the foundation. So you got to understand something, that the one, yeah, him. See, he's not in your life because you have yet to frustrate yourself to the point of submission. And I'm not talking by way of sexual means. I'm talking about spiritual. Because you are constantly playing a dance within a game within inside your own psyche, that you're going to do whatever it takes not to look at what woes you have. And and what I'm trying to get you to understand is what you need can't be revealed until you ground your feet and look at it. Don't you realize the moment that you look at it, it takes the sting away a little bit? It makes that big bad monster in your mind, it brings them down to size. That's how it works. Because all you've been doing is running from yourself. But if you allow your self-worth to be based off of society's needs, you'll be walking that block, you'll be strung out, and worse, you'll have countless people in and out of sight of your body. Come on now, think about it. Think about it. Listen to the media. Listen to the music that's being put out. Is there any honor in that? They are putting it out because that's what they want you to take in. They'd rather for you to walk around with a stretched out rectum than a mind full of intellect. What's wrong with that? If you constantly listen to what they put out, when they finish, there will be no you left. And the question should be, why can't you see it? Why can't you see it? Why do you think that you attract who you attract? There's no love there. There's no love there. Just another person stepping in to fill in those voids. And they don't mind doing it because guess what? They know that you're broken. And guess what? They're broken too. So misery does love company. And they don't care. But guess what? I'm a firm believer that no matter how far we fall, we can always get up. We can always get up. But that can't happen until you decide to claim your life back. Come on now. You realize in this generation now, 1 out of 4 people from the age of 16 to 24, 25 are already having anal sex. Do you think it's coincidental they put that in the music? They plant, those are nothing but spiritual seeds, y'all. You might not, in the back of your mind, you might say, I'll never do that. But the fact that you took it in subconsciously, that's what spawns reaction, or better known as an emotional trigger. But the kicker isn't. What you won't find is God ain't in it, because love don't hurt. So if your body's priceless, if your body is a temple, why would you do things to destroy it? I'll do one better. Why do you think, my queens, you have the brands of suppositories out there now? Because they already know that they've already done the math to realize that there are going to be some women out there. They already know that you're going to wear yourself so thin that you're not even going to be able to control your bladder. That's not coincidental. All of a sudden, last 5 years, okay, now they have this product for you. No, they put that product out because they know there's a stream of revenue that they can tap into. Oh, I know I'm talking to somebody. You can't laugh hard like you want to. If you sneeze, oh, you got a mistake. Why? Because, go back. You're allowing somebody in your secret garden that should not even been on that road, should have never had access to hear you breathe. And you know what's sad about it is? They already know that you don't love yourself. Otherwise, why would you put yourself at risk? So let's talk about risk. My kings and queens, do you realize now that there are strains of STDs out there in the market, out there in society, that they're set out to disfigure your body? It's kind of got like a same kind of effect like a spider bite almost. When you come in contact with this person's trait, because DNA is all whacked up, the white blood cells are all fighting the immune. That if you come in contact with a certain person and they don't show it, they don't show signs of this. Well, how you find out is pretty much your vascular system starts to go into shock. And what happens is you start to have these lesions that pretty much destroy your muscle fibers. It attacks it. Kind of like if you got bit by a brown, like a spider bite, like a brown recluse. It leaves a scar. And see, when I see all these little things going on, I'm like, okay, you expect me to believe that all of a sudden this has been going on? This is new? No, I believe these are ailments and diseases that man has has unfortunately spawned amongst itself because it's unfortunately a divine, it's a divine message. We know it is the word of afflictions. And what you might not realize is, y'all, in the States, here in the United States, if they do not, CDC is not going to tell you this, but we're almost at a point that we're actually, just possibly, we may see leprosy occur. You know, you hear about that in third world countries, and you know where medical uh, medical services are limited. No, mm-mm. It's because we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah, y'all. We're living in the Sodom and Gomorrah mind state where everything goes, no one pays the price except your life. So who wins? That devil. Because that devil don't want you to become that person you're destined to be. He don't. So he turns around and aligns people around you. And these are all people that you wanted. You've said this, you've had this conversation in your mind or in your spirit, but you've said the type of person that you want in your circle. And you're seeing this manifested through your connections, may it be physically, sexually, or economically. So I was reading somewhere online, and I know it's very important, excuse me, to fact check everything because, you know, 85% of the stuff that's put out online is more or less like a Wikipedia foundation. A lot of it's false. Um, and somebody made a comment and said, "Oh, you know, these women are winning," and they had so many women respond, you know, in admiration about, yeah, we're doing this, and you know, and then you got celebrities putting out books saying, hey, if you want to have this, you have to do that. Don't y'all realize what's at stake is your state of mind? Do you see it? They're saying win at all costs, even if it costs you your health. So what? You got that blood disease. I know I'm talking to somebody. So what? You got to be a slave to the concoction to keep you from losing footing. So what? Win. See, right now we're in a state of shallowness that is so brazen that even the TV shows that they put it out in your face that it ain't about God, it's about the devil. And all they're doing is trying another angle to get you to condition the acceptance so that when, just a matter of time, y'all, because the devil's real. Please believe that. They're going to romanticize his position because they also know that half the world is impressionable. So, oh yeah, you want to have this life? You want to have this look? Mm-hmm. You want that hourglass figure? And I'm going to go ahead. Mm-hmm. Just sign your soul away. I'll give it to you today. But even the Bible said it best. What is a man to lose his soul to inherit the earth? And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing queens. Think about it. They have systematically put everything out there for you to lose sense of self. They've even bet on you so much that you lose sense of self that they've convinced you that your body ain't good enough. Your external is not good enough. Do you realize how beautiful you are? And to convince you even more so, they put music out, they put imagery out to convince you down that road of denial. I wasn't going to say nothing, but I got to say it. Do you realize, Queens, in 30 years, I say 20, you're going to see this. You're going to see abundance of women suffering from rectal cancer. Yeah, I said it. Let me tell you something. You won't find love back there. I don't care what that little boy keep telling you. You don't know. You may be sleeping with a demon right now. Because guess what? The whole proverbial that a demon looks deformed and they got horns. No, 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 no. No. The devil can manifest into anything when it comes to getting your soul. So what do you think his minions? Hmm? What about that Jezebel spirit? Oh yeah, that Jezebel spirit is real, y'all. This is what makes up our society. That Ahab spirit. Oh yes. Why you think my queens? Why do you think you see so many men with no desire, no passion, no zeal for their lives? Somebody right now said he talking about you. Won't get off the couch, but he's got a love affair with that game. He doesn't have any self-worth, but yet he wants to blame the man. Well, even Ric Flair said it best. To beat the man, you got to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Well, the man is you. The man you got to beat is your procrastination. So if you don't like your situation that's going on right now, how can you even call yourself a man if you won't stand up and address it? You can't go through life like this, or I love this one. You thinking that will make it go away. That's temporary. You know what it is to have money? It just means that you have access that other people don't. But guess what? It's temporary because doesn't matter how much wealth you have. You can't take it with you. You can't. It may it may sustain your lineage, your family, but if they're not grounded, guess what? They're gonna squander everything you work for. You know why? Because they don't know who they are. They are. You got a lot of people that idolize things that ain't real. So now you got these women, these little girls, and my queens. Do you realize in about 20 years there's gonna be so many of y'all running right to the plastic surgeon to rip out all that stuff that shouldn't have been in your body because, and I spoke this 3 years ago. Sooner or later, that your DNA, because your body's designed for you. Sooner or later, that DNA, that blessed DNA, is going to tell your white blood cells, and that's what fights off infections that are from the outside trying to gain access inside, that I don't want to do it no more. And that's a painful and slow death. But what a lot of people don't see is the wounds that are occurring every day, because the biggest battle that's being fought right now is mental health. Mental health is bad, y'all. There's so many ailments connected to your neurological system, it ain't even funny. But see, they also know, society I mean, that the more unstable you are, the more money you're going to spend money. Because you're not grounded. So therefore, you're going to impulsively blow your hard-earned money. They know that too. So this goes back to the proverbial same technique when it comes to pacifying a child. When a child cries, you give it something to distract itself from what it was doing. So why not make that trinket some money? How about something material? Oh, so because I don't care about your health, you're going to let me spread you open like a book? Because trust and believe what I'm telling you, queens. I know, and if it pisses you off, good. Love yourself more. Because a lot of y'all are living this fantasy. The lady and the tramp. You're not a tramp. Why are you doing tramp stuff? Huh? You don't think there is a man that is designed to make your jagged edges smooth. And he has his own testimony. But the one thing through it, he had to learn to love himself, speak his truth. Some of y'all don't even know don't know that two-letter word. No. To let anybody do anything to you for what? So in other words, what I'm saying to you is this. Because I know somebody's waking up right now saying, I did it again. I did it again. Why did I allow myself to compromise myself again? I don't know him. And you're beating yourself up as you leave out. Guess what? He got a smile on his face because he knows you, no matter what you say, you can't take back what you chose. It's free will. He also knows that there'll be others like Lay's potato chips too. So it doesn't matter what you think. Because if you don't play, that's all right. There's always somebody that he can snatch from the bench. Don't play yourself like that. That's all I'm saying. So let me bring this back home, y'all. With all the tragedies going on in the world, y'all, it is very, very important, y'all, that you get back to one, because if anything, what has been evidently put out there for the masses to consume is the lack in regard of human life. People think from the lowest level, if I don't get my way, I'm going to strong arm you. It's the same practice that governments use down to the pimp on the block. If I don't get my way from you, I'll force you to. I'll put enough pressure until you break. But the funny thing about it, figuratively, is they're never there to pick up the pieces. Except for one, and that's God. He's been there the whole time, y'all. But because we have free will, he's going to let you figure it out on your own, as well as let the chips fall. And I know you're saying, well, why would God do that? Sometimes your breakdown is your breakthrough. Sometimes you got to go through the rain to see the sunshine. Sometimes something may occur to finally pump your brakes, ground your feet, to see what's been going on. Some of y'all don't realize the fix was in when you were a child. You never knew. And you only going off of what you were told and what you were shown. You know, someone said that if you're raised in in an environment where there was no affection, you're not going to be affectionate. If you were raised in an environment where all you saw was daddy bringing woman after woman after woman, you're going to think that's how you're supposed to deal with women. Same thing, my queens. If you were raised in an environment where the opposite, you saw your family members, using men for their resources, or like a battery, and then when they're done throwing them to the side, you're going to think that's what a relationship is. Or better yet, if you're raised in an environment where there was no emotion, you're going to think that it's normal not to embrace yours. That's why there's so many men that are disheveled now, because they're afraid to be vulnerable. They're afraid to cry. They're afraid to express themselves, because they feel that if I show that side of me, I'm less than that. Don't you realize until the moment you embrace your emotional state, you're not a man? You're not. You're not. It's like making Kool-Aid without the sugar. It looks like Kool-Aid, it smells like Kool-Aid, but without that ingredient, it is going to always be bitter. I know I'm talking to someone. And I learned this too. Y'all might want to put this in mind, and I'm going to wrap this up. Why do you think the whole selfie craze came about? I know somebody saying Kim Kardashian. She was the poster child for it, but you know what the real reason why that was about? The side profiles is for facial recognition. I mean, look around. There are cameras everywhere. Well, guess where that data goes? Yeah, everything about you. That's why when you hear people, that's why I laugh when you hear about what, when people say, well, Joe, I got passwords on all my stuff. Let me tell you something. As long as you have yourself connected to an internet provider, your information is accessible. Why do you think all those videos are, why do you think there's so many adult videos out there, amateur videos out there on the net now? I know somebody's saying, well, he was just being builder, Gerald, and he put my business out there. Well, guess what? If he respected you or respected himself, why would you put somebody out there like that? Why? Because they never respected you. But guess what? That ain't the end all be all. That's just part of your testimony. But my queens, I'm telling you right now, you guys are for the late 80s, mid 90s, early 90s. I remember there was this thing where they said the endangered species, the American black male. And I'm not trying to make this a male thing, race thing. I'm not. But at that time, they said, well, if you were between the ages, my folks that are 35 plus, you should remember this. There used to be, they actually, I don't know if it was the New York Times or the Washington Post, they put a story on, an expose on it. It said, if you were between the ages of 16 and 21, you were at risk. And because, the drug scene was, a pandemic, but, young men's lives were being cut short. So think of it this way. Think about all the think about the contributions that could have been made if these people were alive today. I'm talking about those that wrong place, wrong time. Because trust and believe, there's a cemetery near you that half the people in there should not be in there. They were gone before their time, but it was because of free will and choices made, and unfortunately lives were cut short. Some people may know it as victims of circumstances too. But I mean, come on. So now the trend now is you got young women, and yes, you too, my queens, that are in your 60s. You've been carrying that burden inside you society called it date rape. You got a lot of that burden up in you because you knew you got taken advantage of. And that's some of you, that's why y'all drink as hard as you do, because you're trying to drink away the pain. Some of y'all are getting high. You can see it. You see it in your eyes, you see it in your skin, you see it in your jawline. Oh yeah, them crow's feet, it didn't get there by just natural life. It got there because of influence. Oh yeah, they see that. We see all that. You're not eating jawbreakers. And that's why y'all got that weariness right there in your eyes. That's why they say the windows are the eyes are the windows to the soul, because it's exactly that. And you look around. Look around now. There's so many lost people. There's so many people that just want, that need to be loved and nurtured, but are afraid to allow themselves to do something different, to heal. Why won't you heal? Your pain won't go away because you got a new dude. He's there to add more. And how long do you think you're going to keep that denial down? That's why emotional breakdowns happen. But you can also call that spiritual storms too. It's to remind you what you don't need compared to what you have wanted. It is the authenticator. But guess what? God will bring you through it, and your life will be made new the moment that you decide to love yourself more. See, you won't find that in him. You're not going to find that, queen. I don't care what benefits he got. Some of y'all are hung up on the status game. Let me tell you something. When a person is compromising themselves because of who they with or what they got, you want to line up and you want to. That's no different than that person riding in that car in the passenger seat trying to post up. You riding. And if you don't play your position, guess what? The ride stops. See your worth, my queens. See your worth, because you're at risk. Big time. You don't believe me? Look at what's out there. Show me one woman that's living her life positive on TV. No. Every woman on there has got an angle. She got some dirt. But don't you realize, that's just like making your favorite meal on a dirty plate. You're going to eat it? It's still dirty. It's time to clean up. It's time to clean up. So don't worry about those people that are laughing at you. Don't worry. They never deserve to be in your life. But guess what? The reason why they laugh is to keep from crying inside. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. And you wondering why you ain't got that ring? That's a symbolization of commitment. You can't have that if you're not committed to yourself. And if you ain't committed to yourself, how do you know who you are? Do you know who you are yet? Until you do, your life is in delay. I know somebody's saying right now, well, Joe, I'm married. Guess what? If it ain't blessed, it's going to it's going to fail too. God has something better. God's praying for you. You know I am. That's why you always place him first. Can't go wrong. Be blessed, y'all.